Dear students, good morning. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 11th September 2017. The first article will turn Jammu and Kashmir into heaven, Mr. Rajnath Singh. You know that Home Minister Rajnath Singh is taking a visit to Kashmir Valley. At the same time, former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh is also on an outreach program to understand the ground realities in Kashmir. So Mr. Rajnath Singh has clearly stated that he is visiting Kashmir with an open mind. Previously, Union government has taken this Hurriyat conference as a representative of the Kashmiri interests. Now this particular outreach program is to different sections of the civil society. It means that the discussions and ideas, thoughts, etc. are going to be broad-based. Opposition also getting into action to understand the problems in the Kashmiri Valley is an effort to integrate the Kashmiri Valley into the greater idea of India. So in this context, there are few irritants. The 35A, that is right to property in case of Jammu and Kashmir. And the second thing is Article 370 and its status. And what is the position of the government on that? These two are in the news recently. And the second is Dhaka plea made Ministry of External Affairs to shift stand. You know that Government of India, that is Prime Minister Modi, he has sympathized with the Rakhine or Myanmar state in Rakhine rather than with the Rohingya refugees. He was concerned more with the terror act of the Rohingya extremist groups rather than the retribution faced by refugees. In this context, humanitarian crisis which is existing in Bangladesh made India to shift its stand. Now, the Ministry of External Affairs and its Secretary Mr. Jaishankar has expressed concerns over the Rohingya issue and the humanitarian crisis ongoing in Bangladesh. Let's come to the editorial page. First article, search for quality. Here we need to understand credit rating agencies. What are these? Why they are critical for a market economy? Let us understand this way. If I want to go for a movie, I will see the star rating and I try to spend 5 rupees or 50 rupees on ticket on that particular movie. So these ratings are helping me to make a decision. Similarly, if I want to invest in a company or a financier has to give a loan, they look for credit rating agencies and the credit score of these particular companies. So that's why if the capital has to flow from the banks, financial institutions, investors, everything depends on these scores. Now, if these scores becomes manipulated, obviously it will direct the capital into the inefficient companies. It will be a loss to the national economy. So, who organizes or who regulates these credit rating agencies? That is by SEBI. SEBI wanted to tighten rules to improve the quality of credit rating agencies. So, one credit rating agency cannot hold more than 10% of share in the another credit rating agencies without approval of SEBI. The people who are promoters of an agency, they shall have a minimum of 5 years experience. And then the minimum investment has to be of 50 crores rather than 5 crores now. So these are the three rules brought in by SEBI. Now understand, the quality in a market economy is expected to rise through competition. Whatever the SEBI did, these are going to create more barriers for the new players to enter into credit rating business. Obviously, as there are no multiple players, competition gets stippled. So that's why this article says the SEBI's new rules are not going to serve the intended purpose. It can only be served with removing the entry barriers. And next, Spanish steps. It is Catalonia. It is asking for independence from the Spain. Spain is a member of European Union and it recently went through an economic crisis. And independence demand has increased once Spain went into this economic crisis. Now we have to understand this topic from the perspective of the European Union. European Union is making a tightrope walk over here for the reason that one way it has to respect the democratic aspirations as it was very critical of the actions of the government in Hungary and Poland. And on the other side, it cannot be seen as an entity supporting the independence movements among the member countries. So, it has to respect the opinions of the Catalonia people, and at the same time, it shall not be visible as an institution breaking the countries or member countries. So, Scotland is one thing, Scotland of UK, and then Catalonia of Spain. These are the issues before it. So, it means European Union is going to have a tight walk. And second, whenever the independence or autonomy movements comes up, countries respond with tightening the position. So now the same is being done in the Madrid. They are trying to tighten the noose against Catalonia. So when they tighten, it's going to worsen the independence movement or a movement for self-determination rather than being a solution in itself. So that's why Prime Minister and the government in Madrid shall try to respect the views and opinions of the Catalonia, provide for greater autonomy rather than tightening the nationalistic noose on them. That is, this article talks about. Probe the conspiracy angle. So now, rather than getting into the essence of this article, let me try to talk what is the essence of right to expression. Because this article says that killing of rationalists, Mr. Govind Pansari, Mrs. Lankesh, all these have a pattern. So beyond that, who are rationalists? Are they liberals? Yes. Rationalists are liberals, but not all liberals are rationalists. Rationalists, they get deep into the problems of the society. They will question very fundamental values the society has. So that's why they are called as agents of social change. So obviously they are questioning the core belief or core value the society holds. They are going to face a wrath of the conservatives. In this case, violence, intimidation, use of cuss words, or trolling on the internet, all these are going against the right to expression. So these people are bound to bring in change. And as a society, eliminating the people who are ideologically opponents is not in tune with the right to expression. And governments which are bound to protect the rule of law shall take these cases seriously. If not, it's going to kill the very rational argument or rational values which are there in our society. That's what it's trying to say. Now, a forest policy on today's term. So this is talking at the very specific level what the terms have to be used in the forest policy. So 1988 National Forest Policy used the terms like ecological balance. So what is this ecological balance? There is no proper definition to it. So that's why these definitions have to be clearly stated. For example, a forest shall be stated as self-sown and self-grown ecosystem, which provides for various elements to the food chain or something kind of this. A clear definition is necessary. And then, whatever the actions have to be taken, we also have to derive these actions from the causative terms. So that's why, for example, erosion. So rather than saying just mitigating the erosion, so mitigating the erosion by protecting the pre-soil or something like this, it has to be given. So more clarity and specificity is necessary in the policy wording. That's what this article talks about. Try to see it from a broader level rather than going it into specifics of the national forest policy. So there has to be clear definition for the words which are used, and policy shall also give a direction for the action plan at the ground level. So the ambiguity of the words between the policy framers and policy implementers shall be avoided. Now, India and US in talks to buy C-17 Globemaster aircraft. So it's a heavy transport aircraft which India is buying from United States of America. Refuses to go to Supreme Court against Article 35A. So Article 35A, it provides for right to property for Jammu and Kashmir citizens. So you know that there is a dual citizenship in Jammu and Kashmir, and outsiders cannot buy the property. It is going to be challenged soon in the Kashmir. Now let's get into NPA's, the business review page. NPA's challenges is to avoid delays. Now, if you know, insolvency, bankruptcy, and insolvency code has come up. Let's take, I'm running a business. I took some loan and I'm unable to pay the loan. If bankers do not settle that as early as possible, obviously that is going to convert as a burden onto the bank. So that's why whenever the NPAs are there, how quickly they can be resolved, that makes banks functioning much viable. But lack of proper legal framework to do that, it has caused the banks to accumulate the losses over years. Bankruptcy and insolvency code is expected to solve the same. Any company which is involving with bankruptcy or insolvency shall go to National Company Law Tribunal. So this National Company Law Tribunal, it is expected to take up the matter within 14 days. So let's take, the SBI has provided me some 2 crore loans which I am not paying back. Obviously, SBI can go to NCLT filing an insolvency petition. So NCLT will start looking into this, and 14 days is the time for it to admit or reject the petition. And then NCLT will appoint insolvency professional. He gets a 6 months of the time, extended by another 3 months if necessary, to resolve the issue. If he fails to do that, then the company goes for liquidation. And then out of this liquidation, whatever the share the investor or the financier gets, that will be given to him. This is the process prescribed. So capacities of NCLT, and then the insolvency professionals, the time-bound program, these are the critical factors for its success. Now, whatever the insolvency professional does, whatever the actions of NCLT, if they are being appealed in the court and courts are entertaining them, and then sticking to this particular timeline is going to be impossible. And if NCLT is bound to deal with different types of cases, and it is not specifically working only on bankruptcy, then obviously NCLT is going to be overloaded. As the judicial system failed to provide a remedy, this is also going to fail the same way. And insolvency professional, as of now 900 insolvency professionals are there. How we have to raise them, train them, nurture them, these are the challenges before us to make this insolvency and bankruptcy code functional in the country. And then GST efficiencies have risen in manufacturing. You know that the GST's objective is to bring in one tax for one nation. Let it bring in that in the country. Remember one point, manufacturing sector may account for only 16% of GDP, but the demand for services majorly comes from the manufacturing sector. And job elasticity is also high for manufacturing sector. So in this case, manufacturing sector, services sector together comes under GST now. So any person who pays the GST can take it as an input credit. Let's take, I have bought something and paid 100 rupees as GST. Tomorrow when I pay to another vendor, I can take this 100 rupees as an input credit. So when I file my GST returns. So it means, let's take this 100 rupees is being taxed only once rather than at multiple times. And then previously VAT is only there for goods, and also for interstate trade we have central sales tax, and where a businessman was unable to claim the credit. Now even for interstate trade he can claim the credit over here. And there are other protections not to raise the prices like anti-profiteering clause, but there is no much clarity on that. So in this, are we realizing one nation, one tax? Let's take oil and natural gas. These are kept out of this regime. And second part is, this GST also have one issue. Let's take if I buy a house, a big car. So whatever the tax which I pay over there, it cannot be taken as input credit. It means certain products, whatever the GST levied, it cannot be taken as input credit. Few other products, these are out of the GST net itself. They are out of this GST regime itself. So these also need to be addressed so that we can move towards one nation, one tax regime completely. Last page, I gave you the notes, and the notes is available at lawx.in/civils prep. Thank you very much and all the best.